the first to know. Nsem-Pii TV.
The General Legal Counsel. Yeka General Legal Counselor. Abayoku ya shishe. Ya omo enehwe Ghana. Nipa hodo ya esuamra. Na omo de mra juma ya yefre omo lawyers no. There is this council ena ehwe sa nipa koi. Na omo regulate omo jumadi ene kwan omo faswa omo je omo adwuma na ene in fact omo de ensem bi aba betodwa na ensem no one, it is very very shocking. Two, it is very very sad. Say as a country, say what is a san nyoma bi say asia, then you ask yourself, is justice is it fair? Justice, is it fair? And I say justice is served on the plate of the poor, but justice is held on the plate of the rich or the privileged because of certain political affiliation and a certain political class of one. It is so sad. Now, we are the General Legal Counsel at the to just say NDC Lawyer, yeah, in 2011, on a Chief State Attorney at the Office of the Attorney General, Counsel Samuel Nsem-Pii. He's been disbarred as a lawyer. They say, to me, Kutano ya wodini juma as a lawyer. No, the General Legal Counsel like just said to me everything. It is a say one lawyer view. A DNSC. Afe ena the General Legal Counsel, aided by the Economic and Organized Crime Office. Etumye ye hwehwemu hu say, papai ejina Ghana banyanim in a case involving the Republic versus Alfred Agbasi Woyome. Papai to me fa chire eko Alfred Agbasi Woyome ho eko je bribe of 400,000 cedis. Sabi ejina nanamu ehwe se omai ebedi ntwo ama yatue sika twitwiri die edi ama Woyome as judgment debt. Edibu a yebu case no ema yatue as sika no de ma Woyome as judgment debt ansa na case ni se court bio na ye reverse the entire judgment debt being paid by the NDC administration no say na the Chief State Attorney, the main man representing the Attorney General in the case, Counsel Samuel Nsem-Pii, for chira kwaje bribe of 400,000 cedis from a state, from businessman Woyome. Anything I was giving you that prelude. Says a BBC, a Chief State Attorney who is supposed to represent the country, to fight for the interests of this country, and to make kwaje bribe. Ji ademu ji yenwe ha. Ma wo mind ko tu a judgment debt. Afei na esese esa ko bu bio ka se Woyome metua se ska na ekura metumi hu. Se ska na se Woyome atua wie se won tua wie akante. Dia, then only God knows the numerous cases in our course of the land. Yeah, various state attorneys. Edi wo man yewu. They said there's Samuel Nsem-Pii. Aye. It is very, very interesting. It is very, very shocking. The decision by the General Legal Counsel, they say he's been disbarred as a lawyer. On to mean in Juma Bion as a lawyer. What next? Now let's take you down memory lane. Now we won't say how there is a platform. We educate. We don't just do propaganda. Now this article, making from the Daily Graphic, dated 6th of February 2012. What say? Indications are that Alfred Agbasi Woyome and the Chief State Attorney Samuel Nsem-Pii will be put before court today. The police seek to remand the two persons to enable the police to continue with the investigations until charges are pressed against the two. The probability of the state going to court is to forestall Woyome's lawyers going to court to seek bail under the 48-hour custody rule. Woyome was arrested last Friday, that is the 3rd of February 2012, and Nsem-Pii was picked up by the police on Saturday, that is the 4th of February 2012, for questioning following the release of the interim report by the Economic and Organized Crime Office last Wednesday after its investigations into the payment of some 51 million cedis judgment debt to Woyome. The Iyoko report stated that Nekwe Tete's wife, Mrs. Gifty Nekwe Tete, was paid 400,000 cedis by Woyome on the 16th of June 2011. The reason for the payment of that amount is yet to be established. The Criminal Investigations Department of the Ghana Police Service told the Daily Graphic on Sunday that the police hoped to talk to other persons indicted by the Iyoko report. As of the time of filing this report, Mrs. Nekwe Tete was being interrogated by a team of investigators at the CID headquarters. The investigators were seeking answers to the circumstances under which the 400,000 cedis was paid into her account. It could not be confirmed if Mrs. Nekwe Tete, who is said to be nursing 2 young children, would be detained or charged. We need to hear from her first and also check on the veracity of her claims that she is nursing 2 young children before we decide to keep her in custody or not, the CID said. It also indicated that it would invite many more people, explaining that we are going one step after another. We will not rush. The government has served notice that all who deserve to face the law over the scandal will be hauled before the court. Following Woyome's arrest last Friday, a large group of his sympathizers, including the national chairman of the NDC, Dr. Kwabena, the general secretary, Johnson Asiedu Nketia, and the propaganda secretary of the party, Mr. Richard Kwashiga, thronged the CID headquarters apparently to solidarize with Mr. Alfred Woyome and Counsel Nekwe Tete. The police had to mount a barricade to prevent people from marauding the CID headquarters. A number of groups have since emerged, including Free Woyome Campaign Movement, Free Nekwe Tete Campaign Movement, all led by NDC executives to demand their immediate release from police custody. An interim report presented to President John Evans Atamils last Wednesday by the Iyoko concluded that Mr. Woyome was not entitled to that amount paid him by the government for the abrogation of contracts in respect of the construction of stadia for the African Cup of Nations in 2008. It indicted Mr. Woyome for manipulating documents and information and riding on the negligence and or complicity of public officials to receive money which he was clearly not entitled to. The report, dated February 1st, 2012, and signed by the executive director of Iyoko, Mr. Biadela Morte Agbazi, said Mr. Woyome, through his manipulations, received 17,094,493.53 cedis in February 2010, 10,500 cedis on January 27, 2011, 10,324 cedis on April 8, 2011, and 14,188,987.06 on February 12, 2011. Enti document here making making reference to the enemy di babesisui. Enti you say a contract was given to me. Person case because in case that a contract was given to Woyome to build stadiums in 2008. Amaso. Enti MPP aban no momo a wono na we in charge of that one. One day he didn't see the sense to pay judgment debt to Woyome. But immediately the late Professor J.M. is in administration by eno buko twa sense ka twhwidi edema Woyome. and asam no court and a state attorney or representative attorney general onko gina omani nyina namu na wonko ka na yankon kwaje judgment debt no na say won ofa chire kwaje 400,000 Ghana cedis ma ye wo yes candidate to ne yira council mu yoko ko ka chere the late president JEMS say wo ye hwehwemu because eska no eye koto sa na yira council no mu information bi entai say eska no chi chire say ade we ni ene yemfa eska ne ye ehwehemu so mo ye kosi sen so mo ye kosi sen ye hunu de kosi ye and one says Mr. Woyome Nsan refund says can from back. And nay na Ghana Legal Council in Chiremu say 13 years down the line. After no mu actually say the Chief State Attorney Counsel Samuel Nsem-Pii Tete say na ye bribe and no for Woyome. No wonder. Say judgment debt was paid in installment of over 50 million Ghana cedis to Woyome. Ya nyankopon fa fear and and that decision was reversed that enka a chief state attorney ema wo man no because of 400,000 cedis bribe ka wo man no sika twetwiri die over 50 million Ghana cedis e could do obinsem kwa na ya statement a Ghana Legal Council de babonte Mr. Samuel Nsem-Pii Tete has been disbarred, meaning he can never practice as a lawyer again in Ghana after the disciplinary committee of the GLC, the regulatory body of the legal profession, found him guilty of accepting the bribe of 400,000 cedis in 2011, aided by a comprehensive report we got from the Economic and Organized Crime Office. And this is in contravention to the professional misconduct of the GLC under Rule 2, Subsection 2 of the legal profession, that is Professional Conduct and Etiquette Rules 1969 LI 613. In a notice dated January 31st, 2024, the GLC said, while defending the state against a suit by Woyome in 2011, Mr. Nsem-Pii Tete personally caused the direct transfer of an amount of 400,000 cedis from Mr. Woyome to the bank account of his wife. Mr. Nsem-Pii Tete confessed to the GLC. So it was not surprising that he could not offer any reasonable explanation for the said transfer of the 400,000 cedis into his wife's bank account from Mr. Woyome. According to the General Legal Council, the conduct of Mr. Nsem-Pii Tete had adversely affected the dignity and high standing of the legal profession. That he, as a lawyer and a chief state attorney, having acted as a counsel for the state in the case, Alfred Agbesi Woyome versus General and Ano, had an amount of 400,000 cedis transferred directly from Mr. Alfred Woyome into the bank account of his wife, Mrs. Gifty Nsem-Pii Tete, without any reasonable explanation, a conduct or act that adversely affects the dignity and high standing of the legal profession. Samuel Nsem-Pii Tete shall not and cannot hold himself out as a lawyer, attend chambers, render or purport to render any professional legal services to the public. The practicing license of Samuel Nsem-Pii Tete is hereby withdrawn forthwith, the notice said. But from the desk of Nsem-Pii TV, where successful immediately, our law enforcement agency should take up this case and deal with him vigorously. Original license, though a professional organization taking up a professional punishment. But Be can be say yes the state Sanko Bionko win the case against Woyome and ka over 50 million Ghana cedis because of 400,000 cedis Bible tea. Kaumani raise eska. They could do people too. And no crowd so me can say besin I don't know if Alfred Abwesi Woyome said your court is really what you can in a crown I can't take. 13 years down the line. Chief State Attorney. Yawo minor ring na se ne mu say onyina na one defended the cause and the flag of this country. Secondly, from the desk of Nsem-Pii, a DA and our law enforcement agencies, they are far afraid of Woyome because I know, definitely know, that he's still alive, walking on the surface of this earth. What has he have to say about a ruling the General Legal Council, Diaba Bontin, Efasika, or wire the two, Papay, Era Council, way back in 2011. Enkosa Aqua, because it has to do with partisan politics. Enkosa Aqua, said the Enkosa Aqua, ye Casasa, ya, San Encon. Then, people have so many questions to ask about how our legal services are being rendered. There was a full
also my resign. Yeah. And when a Western Ken Overata is a Western trained economist. And so the lifestyle and the politics of the Western countries. And he was vice president, was chairman of the economic management team. Oba atuno catch or there. He may 13 taxes. If he's elected president. It's a rejection of your leadership at that ministry. I mean, it is clear. Or when you want to be sacked before you go home.
Mr. Mamini, there, one or Shane.
Where is it do?
Match the way to do.
No, I do this. You know, where to do. One thing I trust him with.
No,
I do this over to do. No bagawaya.
Interestingly,
oh no, appendix. Oh, appendix we are no way to can.
What's wrong with Germany?
No, Kapasa. Oh, the good for Ghana. Ghana need. And the nature something say wow answer.
Now, so what of the other speculative names I think?
I mean, that finance ministry should come directly under the office of the vice president. Nada is the flag bearer and leader of the party. I mean, the Manfutu Kakrayin. That office, Ministry of Finance, should be directly under the office of the vice president. Na loshe. Ni promises or me, ni vision or the main. Close to elections time, people will have a feel because I believe this is like Sermon on the Mount. It's like recapping what Jesus Christ said and did on the Sermon on the Mount, giving hope to the poor and the needy, because Christ was preaching to the poor and the needy. The rich were not with him. Nefi too, he's trying to revive the political base of his party. If spare part dealers, Wabane was there were endorsed by Womia, if Guta were endorsed by, these are the political base as well as the financial base of the MPP. And so immediately, since you are there, the revival of the MPP, because one presidential and parliamentary elections in Yama other ba akwando no nyefe ifom na ifom resay I there one support base and they were losing hope, but now this 70-point vision policy there, it will revive the MPP political base. na people will follow up. But I hope menim there Bawumia kasa almost about 10,000 people will talk at a go. Obia manasa mobaka.
At a go then, maybe.
Oh, in one. Well, it be from the opposition side. It be numerate. If you are Robashisha Pono album, it be numerate there. Want to wash about Bawumia Robas in Obi. They are not thinking about the substance of his presentation, the messaging on man. They are not looking at it as compared to their own, but rather they will insult him and say all manner of things. But the man not say the Pharisees were against Jesus Christ. Governor Moboa.
No.
Because
no one could think the Pharisees and the
Sadducees and the scribes.
Yes.
When you know, but some of them opted out.
In fact, a few of them. Some of them.
And Nicodemus, and
eventually,
Joseph of Arimathea. They were able to help
them Joseph of Arimathea.
was a rich man.
Was a rich man.
Joseph of Arimathea.
We are in biblical times, on American. There, in times of difficulties, in times where nations or countries are affected by global economic order. You need a savior, and that savior in Ghana is Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. Enyuma,